Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to another episode on DTC Official GH, your number one business, tech, and all forms of personal development content right here on YouTube. Today, I have with me here Mr. Gideon Brefo, the co-founder of HapaSpace. This man has been very phenomenal in our entrepreneurial ecosystem, not only in Ghana, but in Africa, making sure that he brings in every opportunity in the outside world into the African ecosystem. Mr. Gideon, you're welcome to DTC.
Thank you very much.
Today is the Ghana Digital Innovation Week, and we are looking at collaboration between EU and Africa.
Yeah.
It is said that Africans do not provide research. We do not invest into research. What do you make of this notion?
Well, a lot of researches are going on. If you take even our educational institutions, almost every student at the final year is expected to undertake a research. I think the challenge that we have had, at least across most of the African countries that I know of, is that we do not ensure that the researches that are undertaken at those levels transition into products or services or something that is relevant to. So you find out that now some students will get some people to write something for them. It's just for academic score. And then after that, they just put it away. But really, there are a number of research activities going on. I think that at the flip side, people also conduct researches that are ordered by particular organizations. It could be organizations from Africa or from elsewhere. And so at the end of the day, they just do it to suit the expectations of that particular organization. And it is not published, we don't hear about them. And there are people that have also undertaken quality research elsewhere, but you can't find them because they are not published online. And some online repositories are also very expensive, so others are not encouraged to put it there.
I think you just confirmed to the cliche that research only favors the founders. And I don't think it is quite helping. But let's bring it out to our entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you see a lot of trainings going on. You see a lot of hubs. I think the hubs ecosystem is saturated, but we don't see most of these hubs providing essential tools or essential trainings that are human centered or that are the actual pain points of entrepreneurs within the ecosystem. What do you think accounts to that? Is it a research gap? They do not research, or is it that because they do not have the funding to carry out these researches, they just choose that, okay, they assume entrepreneurs need this, and so let's go in for that?
Yes, I think that your last but one point holds. People don't have the funds to undertake empirical research because empirical research can be very expensive. So yes, some form of research is done, but the question is, does it actually cover a sample size that allows for generalization? It's a big question to be asked. Then we have a number of startups that also just assume they understand and know what the market needs and just go ahead to do that. So yes, the innovation hubs, I always say that they are also private organizations that are trying to fend for themselves and support others. Okay, so if they don't have any other source of income, it becomes difficult to set aside funds for research, which is very critical to what they are trying to do. Um, But I know some hubs are trying to do something, but whether it is enough for them to conclude that what the innovators within their innovation hubs or communities are able to do is something that we need to look into. But the result is clear. And that's why sometimes somebody you see that, oh, this is quite innovative. However, if it gets to the market, people don't go in for it because it does not really meet their needs, and people will not spend money on things that they don't have immediate need for. So it becomes a problem.
So you have been trying to bridge the gap between the European Union and the African continent. If you cast your mind holistically between the two ecosystems, what do you think? Although you are doing, I can see that you are doing a massive work for the African ecosystem. But if you are to holistically assess both ecosystems from the EU to the African continent, what do you think is lacking?
Well, the European market is mature in terms of innovation and research. It's more far advanced than what we have here. Okay. The thing is that their market is also saturated, and so they are looking for opportunities to enter into the African market, which is green, or it's emerging in terms of technology and innovation. So we have a lot to give them, right, in terms of the market. They can benefit from that angle. And once they want to enter into our market, then they cannot just dump their solutions. They have to work on it to see the African market. And they need that local language. And that will also come from us. Then we also need their advanced technologies and innovations that we can learn from. Okay, and also that we cannot just do copycats or copy paste. We need to understand that and see how we can also tailor it to meet the needs of our African market. So it's a win-win. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So it's going to be a win-win collaboration that they learn from our local insights, and then they have access to our markets while we also learn of their advanced technologies and innovation to improve on what we are doing, so that we can also in turn come up with solutions that can cut across Africa, or even be able to enter into the European markets.
All right, so talking on that, let me shift the conversation a bit. In the early stages of the AfCFTA, I saw that you were a key stakeholder in the developing stage. Now, here is the case where you meet people and they say it is still existing on paper. It
Yeah.
is not actually working. You have been to the EU. I know probably you have visa that allows you to travel across the European Union without hassle. What do you think that our ecosystem is lacking that is preventing Africa from materializing its free trade across the continent?
Yeah, just a correction. We hassle all the time to get visa to travel across Europe, but
Okay.
at least what we can say with certainty is that their own people, their nationals, are able to travel across because they have a passport that is accepted across the European Union, which is quite good. And so, in terms of what is lacking, Africa also doesn't have that. Sometimes it's even more frustrating getting a visa to another African country, and that's a
Dangote
sad part.
highlighted that at the
Yes,
Africa Prosperity
yes,
Summit.
yes. Sometimes it's even harder. It would have been easier getting a visa to travel to Europe or America, to the UK, and so forth. So that the AfCFTA need to address that, right? Then there's also, but I can say that elements of the AfTA has already started, because just a few minutes ago, somebody from Uganda was speaking to me. She's looking forward to going back with some shea butter, because that's what she used for her production. But if she gets somebody who is AfCFTA certified, then it's going to reduce import duties for her, which is very good. If many people can get the certification and it reduces the cost of importing from one African country to the other, then it's easier for us to do inter-African trade. Then the next thing, well, why people might still say that it's only existing on paper, is that if you are traveling by road, now the borders still have those issues that you've known.
It is very frustrating.
Very frustrating. So if only moving from Aflao, which is Ghana, to Lumi, which is just, you can just run across, and it is so hard to do it as an African, and from a country that shares border with that country, then it is still a problem, a huge problem. Okay. Now we see that they are trying to come up with um, a mobile money platform where you can actually send mobile money across Africa.
Okay.
If that materializes, then it's pretty much very easy, because sometimes you need to send money to Europe before it goes to another African country, which is very tough. Which is very tough, and so that's something that needs to be worked on. That intercountry payment system needs to be worked on to make it easier.
I've always been of the view that until we get a single payment platform where I will not need to change my money to dollar to send to somebody in Uganda, then that is when we start talking about a conversation that the continent will thrive. Until that happens. So with that being said, what are your final words, and can you give us a brief about the SIAD
Yeah, the seed project. Yeah.
Yes.
So the seed project is looking at strengthening the research and innovation across sub-Saharan Africa and Europe, by providing them with route to market um, opportunities. So the idea that we have already spoken about is that there are a number of research activities that take place, and the outputs, they don't get to the market. And then there are a number of innovations that are also known within a particular community and doesn't get to even the African market. And so this is, so we have already conducted a human-centered baseline survey that has given us what the gaps are. So we are working to provide solutions that can help people who are either undertaking research or coming up with innovations to clearly see what route they can take to be able to hit the market. So for instance, we are leveraging on the Enrich in Africa platform that is providing a marketplace for innovators to showcase what they are doing. And then there is also something that we call the twinning program. So for instance, twinning, like twins.
Okay.
So if we find somebody doing a similar or same thing in Africa as in Europe, they can be paired, and then they can share knowledge, look at ways that they can collaborate or build synergies. Okay. Then we have what we call the capacity building program, the teachables, that people can also actually go to the platform and learn. So all these are activities that are going to provide support to those who are conducting a research or coming up with innovation to be able to find their way to put their outputs or innovation out there so that people can actually consume.
All right. So with that being said, are we looking at a future where we will have a journal or a publishing site for African publishers, something credible where researchers can publish, because not almost everybody can publish on Sage or whatever. Are we, from your project, are we looking at something like that?
Yeah, so the platform is going to provide a repository for both researchers in Africa and Europe.
Okay.
So it's going to be cross-continental to support them.
All right. It's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. We are right here. We just had a conversation with Mr. Gideon Brefo, and he's one amazing human being. Follow him on LinkedIn, and you will see why I say he's amazing. He's doing a lot for the African ecosystem, and I'll be profiling him at the end of October, God willing. Stay tuned. This is DTC Official GH. There's always more to read on dtcofficialgh.com. Like this video, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Have a nice day.